If you can do only one thing to encourage and support wildlife in your garden, then providing water will give you the greatest return for your efforts. Be it large or small, deep or shallow, if you provide water, nature will come. Welcome to Nature Garden Live. My name is Paul Samuels and this is my garden pond. I'm a wildlife and documentary filmmaker and my medium-sized garden is situated in East London, so by no means a rural setting, but as you can see, the pond has become very well established and therefore supports a variety of wildlife and plants. It's about 18 feet long altogether, including the flag irises at the end, and nearly 10 feet wide. There are of course other features you might create in order to attract wildlife to your garden, and I'll be covering those over the course of the next few episodes. However, water is a pivotal ingredient, so I thought I'd begin with that. Now, you could rightfully complain that you don't have the space for a pond this size, but there are many alternatives in terms of size and design, and we'll be looking into the possibilities in the next few minutes. But before we get into details, let's have a brief look at the other features I've created in my quest to make a nature garden here in this capital city. Ivy is often spoken about as being an important bird nesting environment, as well as providing late summer food for insects as it flowers. You might be lucky enough to attract ivy bees, a specialist species. A word of caution, however, ivy will run rampant if not occasionally pruned back. Providing food for birds is a very popular nature garden feature. At the moment, mine contains sunflower hearts and suet bars, and occasionally half an apple. I've also started a shrubbery, which includes buddleia, hawthorn, hazel and a spindle tree. These are all next to a very ancient apple tree which is a leftover from a time in the early 1900s when this whole area was an orchard. Now, nettles aren't going to be a favourite for families with young children, but are much favoured by butterflies for egg laying. If you have the space, they are a valuable addition to any wildlife garden. Finally, for the moment, we have my mini wildflower meadow. Well, it's a patch of grass actually, but a mini meadow sounds so much more impressive. We'll come back to that when some of it begins to flower. Now, back to water and the pond. A little while ago, I was reminded that I had a storage box in the garden. Don't ask me why I had a storage box in the garden, but I did. And it had consequently got full of rainwater. I was about to empty it out when I thought to myself, now hang on a minute, that might make an ideal mini pond. Just like my mini meadow, I've got a mini pond, and here it is. This is the storage box. And in it I've got two plants and some bricks holding them, the pots up, with gravel to give it some kind of decent appearance at the bottom, and a large rock in the corner where birds can sit and take a drink if they want to. Now, if all you have is a balcony, then you could put something like that on your balcony and provide water for whatever insects and birds exist in your environment. All these things are possible with some creative thinking and the tendency to leave things in the garden. But I'm sure there are many other kinds of containers you could think of. What I haven't got in there at the moment are some plants which are specifically below the water level in order to provide hiding places and to increase the oxygen content of that small amount of water. But as our series goes on, I'll show you how I implement its development. And so to the main event, the pond. Well, in design, I've got a shallow end here with various rocks and an area which enables access for amphibians and other small animals. Birds sometimes come down here to drink as well. Beyond this shallow area is a deeper section where I've put these water lilies here. They like a fairly deep section as far as I know, and each year they grow up from the bottom, die back in the winter. That then goes up to another shallow area, which is the gravel you can see in the middle of the pond there, and beyond that yet another deep section where I've got the yellow flag irises. Now, while I'm talking about yellow flag irises, those started off as about the same size as that storage box that I changed into a small pond. They spread very quickly and very strongly, so you may have to make sure that yours don't begin to take over the entire pond. As an example, these are yellow flag irises, nowhere near the original set, and consequently these have come from seeds which they drop everywhere into the water. I think I might have made a mistake to some extent in putting the pond so close to my neighbour's garage, because I've got a little sort of precarious walkway down there where I can tend to that side of the pond. But I think to be comfortable you might consider making sure that you have a fairly wide area of access around the whole pond for those times when you need to do maintenance. Along the edge here I let the grass and the weeds, for want of a better word, grow, and when I was originally digging the pond I tucked the pond liner underneath this edging, so in fact these plants are growing on about that much soil, not really a great deal. But it's beginning to come together now, and this year already I've had a broad-bodied chaser sitting on one of the old purple irises that I've got there, and I've had several common red damselflies. The pond is full of tadpoles various. I think there's probably some toads as well as frog tadpoles in there. Well, that's the end of this opening episode of Nature Garden Live. I hope you'll join me in the next few months, as during the summer I go over various other aspects of what's happening in my garden, and I'm hoping that I may be doing some live broadcasts during that time when something really interesting is happening. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time.